I believe people are so outraged right now, they should put expanding the court to a vote, specifically so you can see Joe Manchin once again tank it, so that it's clear, hey, we tried putting it to a vote to expand the court. This person's blocking it. We tried codifying Roe. The same person's blocking it. Hey, we also, I think Biden, even though an executive order would get overturned by the Supreme Court, at this point, people are so outraged, do it anyway, just to buy some time.
Right.
These are all futile things, but these are all things between now and November that would actually help people feel like Democrats are doing more than trying to fundraise off of this, which, younger people are upset about. They got 1 million fundraising emails, but we don't see a plan.
Right. Well, it's true. And I'm seeing that across the board. Like even in the New York governor debate that they just have, Rudy Giuliani's running again. Rudy Giuliani's son is running against 3 other people. I literally saw highlights for about 10 seconds. It was like, I'm not watching this garbage. I don't watch anything anymore because all these politicians do is attack the other side. No one is telling us what the plan is because there's no plan. All it is to keep us divided. That's the plan. We can't even agree on what happened on January 6th, and there is video, and 3/4 of Trump's administration is testifying that it was all bullshit. Attorney Barr literally called it bullshit, and there are people still debating what happened that day. We do not have the intellectual capacity to move the needle forward right now.
Yeah.
If we're debating what we saw with our own eyes and what people in his own camp is confirming happens, and people are still like, no, it's a conspiracy against him. I'm done.
Yeah. And you
I
can't
don't even want to vote anymore.
You can't say AG Barr is part of the fucking Republican establishment who hates Trump. He was acting like Trump's personal lawyer while he was AG.
Absolutely.
Which in and of itself, needs its own investigation.
I think it was 60 out of 61 cases that the Trump administration brought to the courts with regard to election fraud was found ungrounded.
Mm-hmm.
And people are still debating about what happened that day. There is no hope. If we are debating what we saw with our own eyeballs and what the people in that camp are telling you happens, and people are still scratching their heads trying to figure out what happened that day, but yet we know what color underwear Johnny Depp wears. What is wrong with this country? What is wrong with this world? Why are our priorities as a species so out of check? Look at the Uvalde situation. What are we debating? There is video of the police officers going into that school armed to the T and not progressing. What are we debating? Why isn't everybody fired?
Mm-hmm.
We have the video of you not doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
What are we debating? What are we scratching our heads and having meetings about?
Mm-hmm. If those guys were in the military, they'd be they'd be facing a court martial right now, facing charges of cowardice.
Thank you.
I can't believe that's not a thing for the police
I can't believe that's not a thing for the police.
They have military grade equipment. Come on.
Right. And if they weren't going to go in there, and if they were too scared, whatever the issues are, intelligence, whatever they're going to come up with why they didn't go into that school, then all those police officers should have handed their guns and their armor to all those kids' mothers, because they would have went in there.
They would have.
The teachers would have went in there.
Mm-hmm. And don't give me they were outgunned. We saw the video, saw the pictures. They got the riot gear, shields. They had long rifles themselves. They had whatever it is. It might not be an AR-15. It might be the police version of that, but they had long rifles.
Not just one guy. One.
Not just Glocks.
Ultimately, it's one guy, and there's at least 40 of you.
Mm-hmm.
So even if a couple of you got to take an L, you could bum rush this dude at some point.
Mm-hmm. And y'all still got body armor too, right?
And they had armor. And you're telling me the kids in that classroom had time to call and beg for the police to come say, you're telling me the kids and the teachers in that classroom had more courage than those police officers, and those police officers still have the nerve to put that uniform on and go into work every day?
Mm-hmm.
That community literally should burn those police officers out of town. They should run them out of town like in the Wild Wild West. They should have to pack up all their shit on the back of a wagon and ride a horse out of town. All of them. And then for the NRA to walk into that town and host a convention later that week, how the citizens of that state did not run them out of town, if for no other reason alone, bad timing.
They do it after every mass shooting.
They do it after every mass shooting.
They do a
because you know why it works.
Every mass shooting, right
they
where
do
the
it.
mass shooting happens.
They do that, and the reason they do it is because gun sales go up.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
funny enough,
part of their business.
You were not allowed
plan.
to bring a gun into that rally.
Right, but you're not allowed to bring the gun into the rally. So this is the schizophrenia of the very people pushing forward this gun stuff. That's the schizophrenia of it. Just like how the people who are extremely anti-gay tend to be closeted gays. There is an extremeness that begs to question, why is this on your radar so much? If you're straight, why do you care so much about gay marriage?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why do you care?
Why do you care?
If you're so pro-life, go pop out 1 million babies yourself. Why do you care?
Why do you care about what the gays are doing if you're straight? There's something that's got your eye over there.
Yeah. They have their own culture. The gays don't bother. They don't be bothering nobody for the most part. They really don't.
So why are you over there sniffing around? So you know that the Supreme Court, the next thing they're going to do is try to overturn gay marriage.
Of course.
So that will be a states' rights issue too. Yeah. And then what comes after that? Interracial marriage.
Well, what was interesting is, Loving v. Virginia is the interracial marriage one. The decision for Oberfell, the gay marriage ruling, is based on Loving v. Virginia. Clarence Thomas, who is in an interracial marriage.
Yes.
In his assent, so he agrees with the majority ruling of the Supreme Court. He also wrote, hey, I'm Clarence Thomas. I'm going to add these other things. I believe we should look at whatever the ruling is for contraception, and we should also look at the ruling for gay marriage. But dude, the ruling for gay marriage is based on Loving v. Virginia, the ruling for interracial marriage, which you're in right now.
The schizophrenia and the cognitive dissonance is on cocaine.
Clarence fucking Thomas, bro.
What is wrong with that Negro?
That nigga is a joke, bro.
What is wrong with that Negro?
I mean, he's been their token guy for so long.
He's Samuel Jackson from Django.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe he sees this as his time to come out and swing his dick around or whatever, because he's just been the token guy for this whole fucking time. Because just look at his background. He was general counsel at Monsanto. He's been part of the good old boys for a while.
Oh, what demon blood did he drink? What ritual did he perform to end up with a cult member and hating everything that he represents?
Honestly, he and Jeannie probably do some kind of super weird shit
they're into such weird shit.
At whatever fucking
whatever they're into, it's weird.
Getaway shit when they all get together with the Bushes and the this and the Vanderbilts and all these.
They're lathering each other up, I'm sure, in oil, naked and rolling on the floor with each other. There is some weird shit going on with those two. I think it's repulsive that she was involved in the insurrection and he's allowed to sit on that court. I don't know how any of us can stand the stench of what has happened between the insurrection, between the Supreme Court's connection to it through the relationship of Ginny and Clarence, through what everyone has testified to that has been subpoenaed so far, including Ivanka Trump, who said she accepted what Attorney Barr said about the elections. She accepted that the Republican-led courts said that there was no justification for calling fraud with regard to this election. Biden won fair and square. Believe me, they looked for it and there just was nothing there. Even Mike Pence was like, there's nothing there. Mm-hmm. We've got to just take the L on this. And what kills me is that
decide their narrative. That's it.
Right. And what kills me is that if you've watched the insurrection committees, I've been watching it here and there. They were clearly going to kill Mike Pence. Trump clearly knew that they were going to kill Mike Pence, and he was fine with it. Over 100 police officers were attacked at that event. Where are all the Blue Lives Matter people? Mm-hmm. I'm astounded at the schizophrenia. These people attacked police officers with an American flag, and the Blue Lives Matter people are in a coma?
Beat a cop to death with a goddamn fire extinguisher. Bashed his brain in.
Death. And people like Condoleezza Rice got on TV and said, we need to move past this. Why don't you tell that to the 100 and something families who lost a loved one because of this event in the name of patriotism by a bunch of lunatics? I'll tell you right now, if that Capitol was getting invaded by Black people or Muslims, they would have shot them all. They would have bombed the Capitol.
Oh yeah, they would have just been spraying indiscriminately. They would have just had a machine gun on a turret and just grrr. They would have brought in helicopters. They would have been. They would have been.
I mean, we've bombed citizens before, so this wouldn't be the first time. And you know, as we all know, once you've done it more than once, the second time and on is easier. I mean, we'll probably have to do a deep dive one day into bombings that have happened in the U.S. in Chicago and Waco and other places. Right. We can talk about that. So I think this has been a deeply disturbing week, at least for people who do not support states telling women what to do with their bodies, because it's not about abortion. It's about telling a woman what to do with her body. And that's where we need to focus this. Obviously, organizations
stop
like
abortions at all. Where are safe abortions?
Right. You've stopped safe abortions and you've stopped giving women autonomy over their own bodies. So clearly organizations like the ACLU are failing at what they're doing. Not only are they not moving the needle, it's going backwards. So how is their strategy working? And what's the plan going forward?
I mean, what the ACLU going to do is just file some lawsuits to try to buy some time. Yeah, this is kind of out of the ACLU.
So what's the plan? Right. So organizations like them, to your point, Democratic emails that are coming in, donate, donate, donate. For what? For what?
Yeah. My donation isn't going to get Joe Manchin to flip. My donation isn't going to
change. Flip. Right. My donation is not going to change Roe versus Wade. My donation is not going to help push through the lawsuits that have been obviously ineffective, because look where we are.
Yeah. You could say donations might help, you know, get two more senators who helps us overcome Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema.
Right. You know what I mean? Down the line. But this is going to be a down the line thing. You need to know that this is not going to happen. This is not an immediate cure. This is going to be a down the line. This is going to take years to fix.
Yeah, which is why that buying time piece is important to me. I think, executive order will get turned over short. Biden should do it anyway.
And what if we lose another Supreme Court justice?
We can seat another Supreme Court justice, because with the current Senate, Joe Manchin still voted with the Democrats to seat Ketanji Brown Jackson. She hasn't taken her seat yet, but he did vote with the Democrats to seat her.
And when does she start?
To approve her? Soon, but she's not seated yet. But yeah, she got congressional approval. Senate confirmed her. So confirm is the verb I should be using. The Senate confirmed her. Manchin voted to confirm her.
Well, we need to slide her ass on there pronto for these next cases that are coming up, because her opinion is going to matter.
Now, all she's doing is swapping with another democratically appointed justice. So that doesn't change the vote count as a whole, but you get some.
Who's she swapping with?
Blood in there.
Who's she swapping with?
Kennedy?
Oh, with Kennedy. Oh, right. Because he retired, right?
Right. I think so.
Okay. Yeah. So, right. But at least, hopefully, that will still solidify the more liberal leaning side. For our next discussion, Jay, I'd like us to actually do a deep dive into the overturned Roe versus Wade case. I want to do a discussion of the case itself.
Yeah. Let's read
let's do a discussion actually of Roe versus Wade, what the original, because Roe versus Wade wasn't an argument for a woman having an abortion. It was about
privacy,
right to privacy. So we have no precedent for a woman having autonomy on her body on the books. It was about privacy. So we should probably review together the original Roe versus Wade case and the case that overturned it, so that we can have a better understanding of what those two cases mean. And then that should help inform us on how to strategize moving forward, if that is something that is of interest.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, it should be the majority opinion on Roe versus Wade, and now, the majority opinion to overturn it. That should be required reading if you're in any kind of a public policy class anyway. Or
that should be required reading if you're voting. You should not be voting for people or on issues like these without understanding the topic. And people always say that the problem with the democratic process is all the people not voting. I disagree. I think, or I would say in conjunction with that, the problem with voters is that they're not informed enough about the candidates or the issues to make intelligent decisions. Mm-hmm. Because when you hear these debates, all you hear is you suck, you suck, you suck. What's the plan? Mm-hmm. And you know why they're not discussing the plan? Because there isn't one. Society is getting worse. Does it look like any of these motherfuckers have a plan?
No.
All they have a plan on doing is making money.
Yeah.
For themselves. That's it.
It's culture war from one side. It's culture war
for us, and money making for them.
Or you're a communist and you hate America, and we're just going to keep this going because this benefits us.
Right.
We get to keep our shit going.
Because they're not enemies after 6 o'clock.
Yeah, they're all going out to the same fucking country clubs.
They live in the same
sex
communities,
clubs,
same country
the
clubs,
same
same sex
bullshit,
clubs. Their kids are
same
going to the
secret
same
society.
private schools. They're doing the same internships. And then you're going to turn around and suddenly from the hours of 9 to 5, you can't agree on anything other than more money to the Ukraine, bang, and heightened security for Supreme Court justices. Y'all didn't agree on that for school kids, but you decided that because Kavanaugh almost got his ass shot.
About that, I read that the dude called the cops on himself and turned himself in. It's like, was Kavanaugh even in that much trouble? Because the narrative has kind of just run away with itself. That this guy was ready to snipe Kavanaugh at any, just a moment later they were, he was about to blow his head off.
It's just an excuse to give them enhanced security.
Yeah, the narrative
the narratives are inconsistent across all these stories. The only narrative that seems to be consistent is the January 6th one. And that's the one people are confused about. You can't make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
I'm waiting for the aliens.
Dude, at this point, why would they even bother with us?
Aliens looking at us would be like, should we stop what we're doing to get on their little yellow bus? Because this whole planet looks like we're on the little yellow bus.
Mm-hmm.
It's sickening and I'm over it.